Here we go.
What has easily been my most anticipated movie for the entire year, Deadpool and Wolverine, is finally here. The build-up to an event-level Marvel movie is unlike anything really else. We live in a day and age where there's just going to be an inherent excitement for the surprises that's gonna be just comes with the Marvel movies nowadays. But not only that, you do know that this is another Deadpool installment. This movie has Wolverine involved, and I'm a huge fan of the character. He's probably my favorite or top 2 Marvel character. I remember very quickly falling in love with the X-Men movies, and I've held them in a very special place in my heart. To see Hugh Jackman now come back to return and maybe stay in the MCU for a little bit longer, that's going to get me inherently excited. With all that being said, all the excitement out of the way, I'm happy to say that this movie delivers, and it also gives you an emotional story, which really is just the icing on the cake. But as we get into the rest of this review, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and comment down below what are your thoughts or expectations for Deadpool and Wolverine. But let's keep talking about it. The Deadpool movies have had superb openings from 1 to 2 to now 3. This movie features a bit of a callback to an X-Men movie, and if you know, you know. If you saw the track list of all the songs that are going to be featured in this movie, which I did, and I have been so excited to see where each of them were placed in the movie. And this one is just fantastic. You get a little bit of Ryan Reynolds dancing. The song it's known for its very memorable dance choreography, so try not to give anything away. It's just fantastic, and it had me grinning from ear to ear, which basically the whole rest of the movie did as well. I was like 30 minutes, 45 minutes into the movie, and I was already going, this is awesome. Getting my more negatives out of the way, the number one thing is that the timeline stuff does get messy. It really is hard to do anything that messes with timelines and different characters on different planets in multiverses and all that different stuff. So you're gonna run into some hiccups here and there. I think that this movie is definitely not perfect. I was going, wait, how does this make sense, and what about that? That's going to be something that you're gonna be thinking to yourself while watching this movie, but you kind of just have to put it to the side just to enjoy the roller coaster that you're gonna go on. But I can also completely understand if you can't put that to the side and you can't get over the fact that the movie doesn't have the greatest story. It is a little bit all over the place at times, and there's no doubt that the movie does sacrifice a better story, something great, and especially something tighter for some fan service. People have been calling this the real Multiverse of Madness. Multiverse of Madness had so much hype around it because we were expecting so much out of the cameos who was going to show up. I think they're both on par with what surprises are in store. But really, this is a love letter to the 20th century Fox era of comic book movies. That's going to be the very common theme in any review that you see. But it's the truth. This movie doesn't forget what has come before it. The characters, the actors, the writers, the producers, everyone that had any contribution to any of the movies that have come before this one, even in the movie's final credits, acknowledging how much of an impact they had on the movie industry, but also the movies that we're still seeing to this day, like Deadpool and Wolverine. The credits montage is really touching, and it puts a smile on your face, and maybe you might even get a tear in your eye. But that's the thing with the cameos in this movie. They're not just there for the shock value. They are there to get a little bit of a send-off. Without getting into spoilers, I went into this movie really not knowing all of the cameos. I had my suspicions, and basically all of them came true. All of the things that I thought were going to happen did happen. In terms of cameos, surprises, stuff like that. But I didn't take anything away from it. I was so happy to see this person, that person, and them teaming up, them just dueling it out. There's cameo carnage where actors get to just absolutely let loose, maybe like they haven't done before. And there's one moment in particular that just had me getting giddy in my seat. It's towards the end of the movie, and there's just a still that I could like frame on a wall. It just looks so cool. But it's one of those things where if you're not a comic book nerd, if you didn't grow up with the movies, if you're not the biggest fan of comics, Marvel, whatever it may be, you're not going to be having as much excitement for it, as much of a reaction for it as anyone that is a fan like myself. By no means am I calling myself some Marvel Comics aficionado, but I would call myself a fan, and what surprises there are in store for this movie, they did have an impact on me. They did have me smiling. And with the cameo carnage, the movie also has some great fight sequences, which they're just still ultra violent. The movie doesn't forget what the Deadpool movies did before this one, being rated R, being completely vulgar. In a lot of ways, you could call this movie a comic book fan's wet dream. I mean, it just delivers. They know who is going to see this movie. That is comic book fans. Those are the diehard people, the diehard fans that come continuously to see movie after movie, and this movie was made with those people in mind. I think there is an argument to be made that Deadpool and Wolverine has the best fourth wall breaks of the Deadpool movies. Ryan Reynolds pokes fun at Disney, corporations, movies, characters, even himself at times. He really does everything that you would want him to do when it comes to Deadpool, just poking fun at literally anything you can think of when it comes to the sandbox that has been made for the comic book genre. I think probably my favorite moment involves one of the cameos and an upcoming Marvel movie where Deadpool just turns his head to the camera and he doesn't say anything. It tells you everything you need to know, and it just brings out the laughs. But it is inherently a bit of an inside joke, and another reason why, if you're not a big fan of what has come before this is not going to be a movie that you're going to come out loving, I don't think. It's a culmination of years of superhero content. There's no denying that. If Avengers Endgame was the culmination of the MCU thus far, Deadpool and Wolverine is the culmination of all of the Fox era comic book movies. Focusing more on the two leads, Deadpool and Wolverine themselves, the movie doesn't forget that it is a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. The movie delivers on the buddy banter. I honestly could have had more of it. It's so clear, and it just really oozes off the screen how much fun Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are having working together, working with the little, again, sandbox that they're playing in. I mean, yeah, you get to be a superhero. That's freaking fantastic. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, they are friends. Sean Levy is a friend. They are part of a group of friends in Hollywood, at least that's what they say. And Deadpool and Wolverine is a movie about friendship, joining together, helping each other out when you're feeling most lost in life, coming together and picking your friend up, picking each other up to go out and go remind each other what it means to just live. There's an emotional story at its core about rediscoverance and connection, how beneficial that is to each of us. I do think this is a very satisfying movie in really all regards. I mentioned how the story isn't the best, but honestly, for what this movie is trying to accomplish, it is pretty damn good. It's not something that I came out really, truly disappointed with just how much of a mess it is. No, you can put it to the side and enjoy the awesomeness on display. In fact, I can count on one hand the things that I was disappointed with. They're really just me personal things I was disappointed with. One, the movie. I mentioned how the track list was released about a week ago. One of the songs on it was The Greatest Show from The Greatest Showman. I love that movie. I love the songs a part of that movie. When I saw that song on the list, I was like, holy shit, I cannot wait to see how they incorporate the song. How they incorporate it is like literally a millisecond of the song. It's a total disappointment in that regard. Was I expecting Wolverine to break out into a song and dance? I mean, maybe. I mean, shit, I would have had a huge smile on my face. Others might have been like, what the hell's going on? But it's one of those disappointment things where it was me just getting overly excited for something that did seem a little far-fetched. But if the song even just had a bigger presence, if they were like driving to the song, or like Ryan Reynolds was poking fun at Hugh Jackman for it, even more of a presence would have been cool. And the other thing is a bit in spoiler territory. I won't get into specifics. I was disappointed that we didn't see a couple more faces, and by more faces I mean specific characters a part of the 20th century group. It's really hard not to talk about without getting into spoilers, but there's a group, and I wish that they were in the movie. Probably they weren't because of the actors being unable to film, or simply them having no interest. And lastly, something that didn't have to do with excitement prior to going into the movie. Emma Corrin, who plays the villain of the movie, actually really not given much of anything to work with. Like, this is an actor who I'm fairly unfamiliar with. Very much so having a lot of fun. You can tell that. It's very easy. More of a presence in the movie and just something more to do. I can tell this is a complex character I want to see more of. It's another chance to shine in another movie. Other than all of that, though, I basically had a smile on my face the entire movie. When I wasn't smiling, I was feeling very moved. The people behind it clearly have a love for the craft of making a comic book movie that delivers to fans, hardcore people, but also not forgetting to have some heart and truly make an impact on audiences. It was so great to see Hugh Jackman back. It was probably up there with one of his better Wolverine performances. I don't think anything beats his work in Logan yet. And all of the surprises, all of the cameos, they were really awesome. But alas, that's not what it's all about. I know. It's a great movie, nonetheless. I'm going to give Deadpool and Wolverine an A-, and I would definitely recommend seeing this one in theaters, especially with an audience if you can. I might have to go see this one again in a theater, maybe with an even bigger audience this time around. I hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as I did. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Again, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as that notification bell so you don't miss any further videos. And as always, look forward to more content coming soon. My name is Ben, people call me Meter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.